Hello, Nancy.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I have no complaints when it's as sunny as it is right now.
That's right. That's
No
right.
room to complain with that. So good to see you.
Nice to see you too. Max and I used to work together at United Way. And I've retired and Max has gone on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, except he has to work with me now.
Oh, well, I'm jealous because Max is pretty darn great.
Oh, you make me blush.
Hey, Mary? All right. Sherelle, are you there? Yeah, you're good. Hey, I got Sherelle on the line with us. And she's got a situation where I want her to do a third-party inspection. And so you just went through that process the other day, right?
Who's speaking?
Yeah.
They don't know that they're online.
Can you share with her? I'm gonna hang up, or maybe I can't hang up.
The video on.
Mary, you must be on John's iPad.
Yeah, we're retired. We can only afford one iPad. Besides, it takes both of us to figure out how to use it. So.
Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and put everyone on mute now and then let Graham take over.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's again great to see you and be with you here virtually. I hope everybody is doing well and staying healthy and staying positive. And hopefully you can enjoy this weather today. It looks like Jason Burke is. Jason, are you running a marathon or are you?
I am walking my dog.
Okay.
I figured I'd give this a shot. I haven't done a Zoom meeting on my walk yet, so why not, right?
Outstanding. Okay, well, again, Taylor, thanks for setting this up. And reminder, if you do want to speak, and I think we'll have everybody participating and speaking today, to unmute yourself. And you don't have to use the camera for video meetings, but we do like seeing everybody as possible. So a couple announcements before we get started. The Kiwanis International Convention, as you know, has been canceled in June. We have postponed all new member dues until October 1st of this year. The golf outing, unfortunately, also has had to be canceled. And we will, again, keep you posted. I think the newsletters have been great in terms of being really comprehensive with updates. So I hope you're reading those. And, one thing I do want to mention, because I did get a few comments about our decision to cancel in-person meetings, is was not just a whim. That's something we've taken really seriously, and we've tried to take all the information that we can from the governor and from the mayor and make a thoughtful decision. Again, these are unprecedented times that we've been in, or that we find ourselves in, and so we really put the health and the safety of our members top of mind here when making this decision. That was the overriding factor in this. And if anybody does want to talk with me about the decision, you're welcome to call me. I've got more time than usual right now, but I would just say again, we, along with Taylor and Tina, really tried to be thoughtful in postponing the meetings until at least July. And trust me when I say we really want to be with you. I miss all of you, seeing you, but that's the last thing I'll say is we really put a lot of thought into this. So if you want to talk to me about it, you're welcome to call me. email me. We can set up a time to chat there. Before we keep moving, I want to ask Max. Max is our newest member of the club. I'm putting him on the spot here, but Max, do you want to say a few words about yourself and maybe why you chose to join the club?
Sure. Well, hello, everyone. It's nice to virtually meet you all. Excited to meet in person, hopefully sometime soon. But like Graham said, my name is Max Harper. I just joined the Butler University Advancement Team in February. So what an interesting time to start a new job. But I've been in Indianapolis full-time for about 2 years now. Prior to being at Butler, I was on the Major Gifts team at United Way, where I got the pleasure of knowing Nancy quite well. And that was my kind of transition into Indianapolis in this community specifically. And prior to that, I worked for my fraternity, Delta Chi, for 2.5 years, traveling the country for them, been 45 out of 50 states, visiting all of our chapters and primarily working on the colonization of new ones, which led me to why I was excited to join Kiwanis. Throughout my fraternal experience, I really enjoyed the service side of things. I feel like this is a fantastic way to not only network within the community and get to know individuals that have been here longer than I have, to kind of show me the ropes of what it means to be a Midwesterner. I'm from Virginia, not from the Midwest, but also a really good way to give back to the community. So I'm super excited about the opportunity to be here and get to know all of you. And Graham, thank you for bringing me to lunch about 2 months ago now, and look what it's turned into.
Welcome, Max. We are thrilled to have you, and Max is doing a terrific job so far at Butler. Max came to me, maybe 2 months ago when we were talking about organizations to get involved with, and I think, Kiwanis came up, and I think Rotary came up, and we chatted and said, Max, I hope you're here for a long, long time, but if you want to be here for a short time, Rotary is probably the organization for you. So he made a really good choice here in joining us. Before I turn it over to Trina, we are really excited to introduce our new club officers. And so I'm going to call on them to just say name, position, and why you're excited to join the board. And Nancy, I'm going to put you on the spot first.
You hear me? Oh, okay. Okay, but now I can't see anybody. Can you at least hear me?
We're all still here for you.
Yep,
we can hear you.
Okay, somehow my screen went blank and went to just Zoom. Okay, I've been a member since 1992 when I came back to Indianapolis, and I really wanted to get involved in the community as quickly as possible and really put down roots. And Kiwanis has been a major part of my ability to do that, to meet fabulous people, and also to make a difference in the community. I think whether you're doing something hands-on or you contribute monetarily or you're working behind the scenes, this is a club that makes a difference. And that's very important to me. I've served on the board in the past. I've also been vice president, and I was thrilled and surprised to be asked to return. And I'm really looking forward to it. I can bring my energy and ideas and enthusiasm for the club. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Nancy. Next, we have Bill Dubois. Bill?
You should be able to hear me now.
There we go.
Like Nancy, I've been with the club for a long time. I think it's 36 years now. So I have lots of friends that I enjoy spending time with. Also, giving back to the community is important, especially for children. And I've always been involved in the sports programs, both basketball and football, as well as Abe Lincoln are the programs that I've been involved with. Of course, I also play golf and enjoy doing that as well. Also, like Nancy, I've been on the board before, so this will be my second time to be on the board. I thought I'd ask you something, Graham. I was scheduled to be a member spotlight in April, so I made some notes, and I could do that now, or I could wait till we get back together. You got any thoughts on that?
Go for it.
All right, very good. Well, it's always hard on something like this to come up with something that people may not know. I thought that would be, so I'll mention a bunch of different things. So hopefully there's something in there you haven't heard before. I was born in Wabash, Indiana, but 2 weeks prior to that, my family was in Fort Pierce, Florida, where my dad was in officers training for the Navy in World War II. And actually the day of my birth, they had a hurricane in Fort Pierce, and so the Navy took their ships out to sea. So Dad actually didn't find out about me for a few days. And then he was able to come back to Wabash and shortly thereafter ship out. And he was gone for the next year in World War II in the Pacific. My childhood was spent in Wabash, Bluffton, and Converse. Converse is a town of about 1,000 people, 10 miles west of Marion. So I went to Oak Hill High School, where I played every sport I could. I actually played year-round, 4 sports, and I lost track of the number of letters. There were a lot of them. I also played in the band. I played the trombone and then the tuba, or bass, they call it. We bought some new basses called recording basses, and had a really great quality of sound. Then I decided to become an engineer and went to Tri-State College, which now is Trine University. Got my BS in civil engineering and went straight up to Michigan State to get a master's in civil engineering, specialized in, at the time they called it soil mechanics and foundation engineering. Now they call it geotechnical engineering. So I came to Indianapolis after that in 1968. And so for over 50 years, I've been a consultant in this field. I started my own company in 1995 called Patriot Engineering and Environmental, and we've grown to over 200 employees. And I'm no longer full-time. I retired 2 years back, and I still work part-time, so it keeps my finger in the pie. I love traveling. My wife and I, as we grew up, we never traveled, so we decided we would travel, and we covered the United States, and then we started going to other countries. And I have a list of countries, 66 countries that we've been to. As most of you know, we love Butler basketball, and season ticket holders for over 20 years. I also have farms in 3 counties, Wabash, Miami, and Grant counties, which is north central Indiana. So this is a really fun time of year for me. I love to see them plant the crops, the corn, the beans, etc. So it's a lot of fun, and there's always things going on at the farms. My wife and I sing in our church. I didn't sing when I was growing up. I was plenty busy, but she talked me into singing. She's the real singer. My wife, Barbara, we've been married 51 years. Also, we have been to 3 Summer Olympic Games in person. And if you ever have a chance to do that, you should do that. It's a fantastic experience. So I thought hopefully something in there you didn't know about me. And that's all I have.
Bill, thank you. I learned something new about you. I didn't know you had been in Fort Pierce, Florida. I moved a lot growing up, and one of the places I lived was Port St. Lucie, Florida, which is right next there.
Great.
Bill is just a tremendous friend and supporter of Butler. He, to me, embodies Kiwanis. He and his wife are just so big-hearted, philanthropic, and I'm a huge fan. I count myself a big fan of Bill Dubois. And also, Bill, I'm grateful in February, he introduced me to Isaiah Thomas at the Trine Gala. And if any of you have been watching the Michael Jordan documentary, Michael Jordan's just been hammering on Isaiah Thomas. There's no love lost between those. And I'm in the minority, but I'm an Isaiah Thomas guy and not a Michael Jordan guy, because another stop of mine growing up was Detroit, Michigan. So I'm not a Jordan guy. But anyway, Bill, thank you. And again, thank you for serving on the board. Next, we've got Duke Haddad. Duke, if you would just introduce yourself and why you're excited about joining the board. Duke, can you hear us? Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. No, I'm Duke Haddad, and I've been on the foundation board. And I've been also filled a term on the board, on the regular board, I think 2 or 3 years ago. Obviously, I've been involved very much so in my day job with the Salvation Army. Love Kiwanis, been a Kiwanis member for a number of years. Love the partnerships between Kiwanis and the Salvation Army. Love children, love what Kiwanis stands for. I'm just very, very proud to serve and look forward to serving more in the future.
Thank you, Duke. And Duke has West Virginia roots, which is where my father's side of the family is from. We're from Bluefield, West Virginia.
All right.
A metropolis of about 8,000 these days. So, country roads take me home, right, Duke?
Yes, sir. Well, I'm from Charleston, went to West Virginia University. In fact, I went to have 2 degrees there and 1 from Marshall University, and very proud of West Virginian. But I'm also a very proud Kiwanian, and I'm just look forward to next year and get all of us through this. And, we're just very proud of it.
Thank you, Duke, and we're proud of you and appreciate you serving. Last but not least, Carol Orbison. Carol, would you introduce yourself and talk about your interest in serving?
I certainly will. I'm Carol Orbison, and I have to say that I'm terrified about my job, my future job of becoming president of the club, especially following Graham, who has, as all the past presidents of this club that I've become acquainted with, has just been a phenomenal leader. And I am looking to him and others for a lot of help. I joined Kiwanis having been presented by Tom Molyneux, and I've loved this club. I've worked with kids for a good part of my professional life, both in France, where I lived for 15 years, working in a government housing district, and we were a team of 4, and were just sort of wandered the streets and got to know the kids that lived in that neighborhood and did projects with them, etc. So when I came home, Kiwanis was such a wonderful opportunity to continue that kind of work, and I've enjoyed working on the Abe Lincoln Committee and meeting all these fabulous young people to whom we have given scholarships in the past and present, as well as a foster parent committee, which is another aspect of what this wonderful club does, working with parents who work with kids that really need their help. So I love the club. I'm looking to all of you for a lot of help in the year ahead, and I will do my best to live up to what Graham has done for us this past year. Thanks, Graham.
Thank you, Carol. I sent Carol a check in advance for those kind words, so I appreciate it. I really enjoyed serving with Carol on the Foster Families Committee. She was one of the first people I met coming into Kiwanis, and just really enjoyed it. So how about a virtual round of applause for our our new board of directors. We are honored to have you serve here and proud of you as Kiwanians. Before I turn it over to Trina, I'm also really grateful we have our Jamaica Kiwanis Club represented. Judith, I don't know if you want to say a few words, but one of the great aspects of virtual meetings is being able to plug in, you know, a club from a far distance from Indianapolis. So Judith, any words for the group? She may be basking in the sun and the beaches right now. So Judith, are you?
We're not getting enough rain, but it's getting there. Not that hot. And it's our pleasure to be joining you again once more. And this is good networking. So I think we'll keep it up.
Well, thank you for joining us. We're honored to have you, and look forward to learning more about you perhaps in this session. So again, we don't have a keynote speaker, but this is a fun time to learn more about each other. And I'm going to turn it over to Trina for our Kiwanis Connections program.
Thanks, Graham. I feel like we should have just made a game where Graham finds a common connection with each of us. We'll just quiz him, and I swear you make some connection every time. So rather than our small groups sitting around the table discussing a question, we have a question of the day. And if you guys are okay with it, I'll just go down the list alphabetically, unmute you and call on you and let you answer. The question of the day today is, what profession other than your own would you like to attempt? Or what profession would you not like to try? We can take about 30 seconds apiece, go through those. I'm really curious on your answers. I'll start you guys off, give you a moment to think about it. There are a lot of professions that I'd like to attempt, either being like an adventure tour guide or an attorney. And I don't think I'd like to attempt being a road construction crew member. So let's see. Bill Baxter, you are first on my list. You are unmuted. What profession would you like to attempt and what would you not like to?
You after me, Trina?
You are up, sir.
I have been in various professions over my 89 years, and particularly since 1958 is when I joined downtown Kiwanis, and I joined it as a home builder and a carpenter. And I've been a carpenter all my life, so I don't know what else I would be except maybe a hospital administrator.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a new one.
Sweet. Mr. Dubois. Should we unmute you? Why am I having trouble with you?
Yeah, I'm okay.
There we
Can
go.
you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
what would you like to attempt?
So what are you talking about professions that we might enjoy doing?
If you had to do it over again, what would you do?
Well, had I not chosen engineering, I would have probably been a math teacher and a basketball coach. That probably doesn't surprise Graham.
That's fantastic. Ann Mitto, you are next on my list.
Oh, but they said there is one that has some writings on it. That Miss Johnson may have. Let me ensure that.
I think we interrupted her conversation. We'll go on. Carol Orbison, what would you, there we go.
Well, if I had to start all over again and choose a profession, I think I'd like to be a teacher. My sister is a teacher, and she just poured her heart into that job, and I so admired her. On the other hand, a job that I believe that I would never want to do, primarily because working as a prosecutor for a number of years with the police department, and seeing what kind of work they had to do, I think I would not want to be a police officer. They are so often, as we see at the present time, the object of a lot of bad. They're treated. People really don't understand how difficult their job is, and I think I would like to stay away from that kind of a profession.
Oh, good answer. Diane Nichols, you are up next.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, contrary to what my friend Carol Orbison does for a living, I don't think I would ever want to be a judge. I think it's really difficult to make those kinds of decisions, and sometimes I guess they leave you maybe wanting for more information or for a better decision, or for, you only have so much information, and I don't know that you always get it. So I'm not sure that that's what I would like to do, but I have always enjoyed being an entertainer. When I when I was in school, loved music, and loved going to different places, and you almost have to be a bit of an actress, sometimes when you do that. So, and I think that you can be a quiet, kind of laid back individual and still be an entertainer. But I've been a little outgoing, but I think a lot of people know me as being a little more quiet. But I think I would enjoy the entertaining field, and they make a lot of money, so that might be another thing.
Awesome, thank you. Judith, you are up next. What profession would you like to attempt? Oh.
That's me?
Yes.
Oh my. I would say a public speaker.
Ah.
I always picture myself in that capacity. I'm far away though, but I'm working on it.
Love it. Duke, we've got you back. What would you like to attempt?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I would love to be a university professor. I've been an adjunct professor at 2 universities and love it. I've never tried that on a full-time basis, but certainly would enjoy it. And what I would not like to be, and my wife can attest to this, is anything in the plumbing, electrical, construction trade. I'm proud owner of a screwdriver, which I probably use badly. So I wasn't blessed with that type of talent. So I'll stick with the university professor.
Awesome. Eric, we've got you up next. Oh, there we go. Do we have you, Eric? Oh, there you are. I can see you. Eric will do pantomime.
Eric, unplugged.
Eric did send a note in the chat. He would like to be a deep sea marine biologist exploring the bottom of the ocean. He does not want to be an airplane pilot. We'll let him explain that another time. Let's see, who do we have up next? We have Gary. Maybe.
Yes, I won't give a profession I wouldn't want to be, but I came very close to going to law school. Maybe a business lawyer. That's something I've always been involved with on the business side, but not the attorney side. But as a fantasy, though, I've always been in love with open wheel car racing, and so if I had a fantasy job, to be a race car driver, Formula One or Indy car. So there you go.
I love it. Grethlin, We have you up next. What would you like to attempt?
I have been a career banker, but I would love to, I like to travel, so I'd like to be a career diplomat. I'd like to be able to discuss what is happening in world affairs and to make sure that people in the Caribbean get a fair shake. I really would love to be able to assist the people of the world, and I'm sure I would be able to assist servicing the service I do in Kiwanis.
That would be amazing. Thank you. Jamie Smith, this might be the only time I haven't said Jamie Smith of Bartha, because she's all one name. Jamie Smith, what would you like to attempt?
Is happening at the same time. That'll change. But what it is it is a admin managed.
I think Jamie is has better offers than us. We'll come back. Who else? We have Janet Lawrence, also from Jamaica. What would you like to attempt?
Janet, are you hearing?
So I will skip down. Jason Burke, besides being a dog walker, any profession you would like? Whoop, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Good. So most of you know that I'm an architect, and I probably wouldn't really want to do anything else. I'm just in love with everything that I do. If I wasn't doing design work, I'd be building something. I'd be a contractor. I'd be doing something in the construction field. Kind of like Duke was saying, how he doesn't like any of that. I could do it all and do it all day long. I don't like plumbing. Hate that. And roofing. Either of those things. Too hot, too dirty, but almost anything else. When I was in college, I went to the Air Force ROTC for a year and learned very quickly that I was insubordinate and not cut out for the military. But my goal at the time was to fly. I would have loved to have flown jets, so I guess that would be a good fantasy job. But
perfect.
I'm so lucky that I have found something that is not a job to me, that is more like a fun hobby I get paid for. So I'm just thankful.
Perfect. Thank you.
Can I ask Jason, how can we see you as you walk?
Oh, because I'm just holding the phone.
You're holding the phone?
I'm just literally holding the phone out in front of my face, and occasionally, I let you guys visualize my walk. So,
yeah. Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Probably the most exciting of our little blocks of images.
It's the most mobile. I was on a call with somebody the other day, and they were in a rocking chair, and it was the weirdest sensation because their face stayed the same focal distance from the phone, but everything in the background kept moving like a wave. It was wild. It's kind of like this.
Strange. Mary Marsh, I think you are up next.
Okay. I don't know. I'm kind of like Jason. I feel very fortunate to have had the career I had because it was so varied. Being a banker / attorney and working with the business side of people's lives and their investments and their social needs. So I really felt like I wanted to be an engineer, so that'd be my fallback. But they weren't allowing women in engineering schools back then, or at least not very many. Had to be brilliant, I guess. I didn't make the cut. But if I had the talent, it would be great fun to have been a part of a college a cappella choir. I absolutely love hearing a cappella, and I don't think I have the talent for it, but I love music, and it would have been a great fun experience to have had. So I'm happy with what I did.
Thank you. Jody Ann Dunn, you are up next. The question of the day is, what profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Hello?
Yes.
Sorry, I just joined the meeting, so I was caught off guard.
Oh, you're fine.
Well, currently I'm an attorney at law. If I wasn't doing law, I feel like I would be in like advertising and public relations.
Oh,
I think I have
fantastic.
a knack for that. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Let's see, where did we leave off? Max Harper, you are up. If you weren't, slaving away at Butler, what would you be doing?
I would love to be a professional golfer. I am getting much better. I've been playing for about 3 years, and I typically shoot in the low 80s. So I'm excited to keep progressing and hopefully get on the senior tour one day. And a job I would not want to do is I would not want to be a horse trainer because I am deathly afraid of horses.
Really?
Yep. They're just too big, and they're just too big.
That's okay.
I did 2,500, Michelle, based on what I thought your attendance was, and the amount of hours or doing hours that we estimate that the keynotes will be.
Sure, who we've got.
Come on, my phone.
Somebody's having a good day. Tina, I'm going to throw it over to you. What you have a lot of experience. What profession haven't you tried that you'd like?
Yeah, right. That's exactly right. Let's see. I've been in the dental profession. I've been seriously writing. I'm here. I'm a teacher. I think if I could choose, I probably, as much as I love writing, I probably would have done something with that. I loved watching Mad Men, and that, not quite living in that time era, but like doing that type of thing with products and advertising. I think I would like that. I would not want to be an air traffic controller, kind of for like the same reasons I think that Diane wouldn't want to be a judge. It's like I would be scared to death to be making decisions that would affect people's lives. So that's something that I would not want to be.
Fantastic. Let's see. Up next is Nancy. I think I unmuted your right thing.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
I studied to be Jane Goodall, and I really wanted to study primates and in the wild. I wanted to be a college professor. I wanted to write, publish, and do all things primates. So if I could do it again, I would go ahead, get my PhD. I stopped with my master's degree because the odds of me getting a job in the 70s in my profession of anthropology were 10% if I went to one college, one university, and 30% at another. And I thought, I can't get a PhD and have odds like that. So I enjoy everything she does, and I, do my own research, and that's kind of, definitely fun. I would not like to be a landscaper. The truth is that I like to read about gardening. I like to talk about gardening. I like to admire gardens. I really don't like to get dirty and sweaty. So I don't want to be a landscaper.
Awesome. Thank you. Rob, where?
Yeah.
Is your last name right?
Yep. Let's see. What I would want to do, I've always thought that property development or residential development sounds pretty cool. I've always been in the construction side of things in the heavy civil transportation market, but always thought it would be fun to be involved with the real estate side of the industry. And then what I would not want to do is, I've always felt pretty bad for the public relations and PR people. Anytime we're getting ready to destroy somebody's street, they get so many complaints. It's just bad news all day long. So I would not want to be in that public relations PR side of things.
Awesome, thank you. Sandra Davis, I believe another of our Jamaican friends.
Yes.
What profession other than your own would you like?
To be a nurse. So that was my first. As a child, I wanted to be a nurse. I admire my mom, who was a nurse, and see how she went about treating the patient. And I'm an individual, so that's one thing I would love to do if I wasn't in.
Thank you. Tom Eubank, what would you like to attempt? We can
you
hear
hear me? Okay.
Yes.
If I had to do over again, I would probably do what I did, probably be an attorney again. But an alternative for me, there were two actually. One, college professor. I thought I would be interested in that at one point. And the second one, it's kind of interesting. I, at one time, wanted to work for Kiwanis at their international office. What I would not want to do is, I would not want to be a medical doctor or an engineer. I don't feel I have aptitude for either of those.
Fantastic, thank you. Trent Cowles, what's on your mind?
I echo a few of the comments, like Mary, of really enjoying what I do. I'm fortunate to work with successful or work with neat clients all day. Most days are good. Some days are rough. So it is high stress. And as I've walked downtown through the years, sometimes I see a job that I'd like to do about once a month. I would like to be on a demolition crew with a wrecking ball or like a bulldozer, just 1 or 2 days a month. Not all the time, but I think that would be fun to do demolition of some type. And I've also thought about the professor of teaching on the side of things I would not want to do. Anything related to like, medical. I've never, like needles or blood or stuff like that. I really admire people that can do that, but it's not for me. And that's great that some people have that talent, but anything to do with needles, and then being at home, I get to see what's going on around the house. And my neighbor was having a tree taken out the other day, and I saw a guy climb to the top of the tree with a chainsaw. And I thought, that is a job I would not want to do. The fear of heights and blood keep me away from the medical and the tree climbing professions. I have always enjoyed, it's interesting, Nancy, that you don't like landscaping. So I have always enjoyed working in the gardens and mowed grass and trimming hedges, and really enjoy prairie grass, like native prairie grass restoration, prairie grass and wildflowers and trees. So we've done that. We moved out of downtown in August and have a lot. So we've taken out a bunch of invasives and put in a bunch of new, like native prairie grass, kind of like the stuff that's on the cultural trail. So I really, that's something I would love to do at some point. But most of all, really enjoy what I do, and very blessed and fortunate to have that. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Realized alphabetically I missed a couple of folks. Where did Rush go? I lost him out of my list. We also missed Taylor. Can I unmute you? There you go. What would you like to attempt?
Design, interior or landscape. I love planting plants. The more I can get my hands dirty, the better. I love outdoor landscaping. Sorry, Nancy. But it's I enjoy doing that. So, and then something I don't like is I'm with you, Trina, and road crew. No thanks.
The sweaty, dirty, I don't know. And then we will wrap it up with our distinguished president, Graham. If I can get you unmuted.
Well, I also am
There
really
we go.
fortunate. I love what I do, and I'm fortunate to be at a great institution. My children actually think my job is going to Butler basketball games, and which is partly true. It's kind of hard to explain what I do for a living, but I'm really fortunate. I, like Nancy, my dream is to be an anthropologist. I've mentioned in my newsletter, I'm taking this just wonderful class through Arizona State University on human origins, which is fascinating. But I have long been an anthropology buff. I mean, long time. So my dream, and maybe in another life, I'd be like an Indiana Jones. I would teach at a college, and then I'd go on these grand adventures. But that is my dream. I've got about 20 books on anthropology at home, and that'd be my dream. What I wouldn't want to do, especially after the last few weeks, I wouldn't want to run a daycare. I won't say anything from there. But Trina, does that wrap us up?
That wraps us up. It's all yours now.
Okay. Well, thank you for conducting that. And it's always neat. We know each other for years, but then we don't know certain things about each other. So I enjoyed this one, and I enjoyed the topic as well. As we wrap up, we will have another Zoom meeting next week. A favor to me would be, and again, we had great attendance today. I believe we had 30 members join us at our peak, which is a good crowd. I'd love it to have big crowds the next 2 weeks. We've got a colleague of mine. I serve on the Robert Greenleaf Servant Leadership Board, which is based out of New Jersey. And one of my colleagues, Jim Lemoyne, is an expert in servant leadership. He's a professor at Buffalo University. He's going to join us and talk about servant leadership, which applies well to our club. And then the following week, and again, this was a cold call to the Grand Poobah of Kiwanis. Peter Mancuso is the international vice president, and just reached out to him, and he is going to be speaking to us. So would really appreciate it if we can get a great crowd. Final comment, I have to tell you, I've enjoyed, these engagements each week as much as anything I've done during the quarantine. I think it's great camaraderie. It's great to spend this hour with you all, and I appreciate the strong attendance that we've had. Do we have any other announcements for the good of the order? Okay, well, I hope you enjoy this great weather and look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good day, everybody.
Great job.